What other content creators do you watch? So you named a whole bunch of your friends.
You said Rattled. Okay, I get it.
I,
It's true though. I did. It was rapid
I
fire.
didn't
Like,
mean it that way.
dude, no, but you're not
No.
wrong. That's how I talk a lot, right? And like I have this desire to not leave anybody out, and I know I have a million people in my head who have already left out. Who I hope if they ever watch this don't feel left out because I love you, all of you.
We can add it on after.
Yeah,
Come up with
perfect.
a list later. We'll just flip it in
Perfect.
there.
We'll just do like a scroll at the end and be like credits, and these are all the people that Swearin loves, right?
Hey, she's a beauty.
So, welcome to Tarducks, a podcast for content creators to share their experiences, advice, and their story. And today, I am so happy to have Swearin. And Swearin, good fucking morning. How are you?
Good fucking morning. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, welcome to the pod. And what we normally do first is we start off with 3 rapid questions just to get the juices flowing. You ready?
Ready.
All right. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Ooh, we went to Mexico for our honeymoon, and I would go back there in a heartbeat. We stayed at this all-inclusive resort. So nice. Like just sitting on the beach and having people bring you like a spicy margarita and some chicken tenders. Like it's just too good. So I'd go back there. I go back there like anytime.
Awesome. All right. So you get to hang out with anyone in history for a day. Who are you hanging out with?
Anyone in history for a day?
Yeah.
I mean that is tough. I don't know, probably. So I didn't get to know my grandpa very much. So I think hanging out with my grandpa would be pretty cool.
Awesome.
One of the people that was like important in my dad's life who I never really got to talk to as much as I wanted to when he was like, younger, right? I want to see where like my dad came from, which is where I came from, and figure out like how that happened. If we're talking like historical figures and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe Jackie Robinson. That'd be super cool. Super cool. I'm like a big baseball guy. And so I'm like going back and forth on like Babe Ruth and Jackie and Hank Aaron and Ted Williams and stuff. But I think Jackie would be really cool. I mean, there's no way anybody has a more interesting and impressive story than him.
That is so funny you said that, because just last night yesterday afternoon, my wife and my youngest, we just watched that movie on Netflix, and what a great movie!
So good, right?
My God.
Yep.
Yeah, I had no idea he came from the Expos or Montreal. I don't know if they were still the Expos back then. Now, who's your baseball team?
I'm a Cubs fan, so a lot of pain for like 2 years of joy, back to pain again. So it's been pretty good.
Yeah, well, I'm an Expo fan, so I know pain. We were the farm team for the league for so many years before we got dissolved. But all right, question number 3: you're going out to your favorite place to eat. What are you ordering? And don't say chicken nuggets.
No, I'm probably getting a burger. Realistically, not a big steak guy. Like I don't hate steak or anything, but it's just not my favorite. And burgers are so, I don't know, they're so flexible, right? Like I can get any topping on them, any sauce, I can get any cheese. And they go really good with any side. I don't know. I'm a basic burger guy, for sure.
Now you came from the West Coast?
No, so I was born in Minnesota. I lived there my whole life. Went to the University of Minnesota. It's where I met my wife. We moved to Texas for her job. Probably like 5 years ago, something like that. 6 years ago, almost at this point. We moved to California. We lived in Pasadena for a little bit, also for her job, and then we moved back to Texas for her job again. And so that's where we kind of settled down for now. Bought a house, all that kind of stuff, and.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Well, the reason I asked is because you guys had, out in California, you guys have In-N-Out, and down in Texas, I think there's a couple of spots too.
Yeah, we have an In-N-Out and a Whataburger like next to each other.
Nice.
Not honestly impressed by either. So.
Oh, really? Oh, I loved In-N-Out when I went. This is probably 10 years ago, so I'm sure things have changed.
Yeah, I mean, I think like In-N-Out in California it's more about the experience to say that you did it. Yeah.
Like and the secret menu and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And it's the same ingredients in Texas, but if you take the Californian experience out of it, it just tastes like burgers. Like it's just like a fast food burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get rolling. So I had Nicky Movement or Nicky Brave Edits on the pod, and he was, talking about how his story and movement and everything like that. And he told me about a project he's working on with this, this guy Swearin. And I have to apologize because I don't know many of the Fortnite community and whatnot. So when he told me that, I thought, wow, a 14-year-old who's like, pretty savvy enough to get involved with movement about his brain and everything. And, so then I checked it out. It's like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. And I got to spread your word to the world.
Thank you. What the heck? Dude, I love Brave. I love that. Thank you. That's really, really nice. And I'm not 14. So
no. Well, that's what I was like, oh shit, because I said, wait, it's like 14. It's like no. Like, okay, cool.
no, yeah. I mean, I haven't moved on from like 14-year-old mindset when it comes to having fun in video games, but I don't think I'll ever lose that anyway. So
nothing wrong with that. My wife calls me man child. So here I am doing a podcast. I'm 50 years old. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. Right. I hear you. So what's your background? You shared a little bit. You came from Minnesota. You sort of traveled west. Now you're in Texas. What'd you do in school?
So I played community college baseball for a year after graduating high school.
Oh, nice.
Didn't really know what I wanted to do. There's like a bunch of things that I wanted to do. I thought I'd want to be like an English teacher for a little bit. I thought I wanted to be a history professor. I thought I want to go into journalism, marketing, all that kind of stuff. So I played baseball for a year and then transferred all my like 8 credits or whatever to the University of Minnesota. Basically started over, went into English program for a little bit, realized that it wasn't really for me. Like I didn't really want to be a high school teacher. I don't have the patience for it, right? I honestly, like I grew up with like not a ton of money, like not super poor. Like we were fine. Like it was small town kind of thing, one vacation a year, all that kind of stuff. Like always had food. Like I'm not gonna pretend to have like a Rosa from the Ashes like sob story. I was just like a small town kid, and I was like I kind of want to get out of that, right? Like I feel like if I go into teaching, which is amazing and noble and really really cool, you don't really have the potential to kind of get out of where I came from, right? So I decided, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go into like history and be a history professor. I'll be really smart and people will think I'm cool. And I learned that there's a lot of things that happened in the past. There's like, you know how much shit happened in the past? There's so many things to learn. Like I don't want to learn all that. So then I was like, maybe I'll be a journalist and I can write about the stuff that's happening right now. And I want to like learn what's happening today. Like that's really cool. And I realized you also need to know a lot of shit about the past if you want to write about journal. Like it's just like you just have to. There's like a lot that goes into it, right? And then and I also like again, journalism, history professor, English teacher. They're all kind of those jobs where it's like it's a lot of work for probably not a lot of pay until you hit a certain point. And I was like, I don't really know. So I went to my counselor and I was like, hey, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to be. And she was like, that's cool. Most people don't. You have, you're 2 credits away from an English minor. You're a credit away from a history minor. You're 2 credits away from a digital marketing minor. You are 3 credits away from a Native American Indian Studies minor. And she's like, why don't you just come up with like a degree for yourself? We have this new program called like a Bachelor of Individualized Studies. So I essentially took pieces of all of the classes and things that I had studied up until that point, combined them into one degree called the Bachelor of Individualized Studies, and I had to like write a long like dissertation on why all those 3 minors plus the Native American Indian Studies minor like go together, why they should grant that as a degree, as a bachelor degree, instead of like a bunch of minors and you're an idiot, you didn't actually have a major, like what were you doing? And in that, I wrote that and I had to go argue in front of the heads of all the departments about why they connect and all that kind of stuff, and they're like, whatever, this is, we'll call this like a digital marketing degree. So like that's what I graduated with.
Oh, no way.
And then first job out of college, I was a marketing manager for a healthcare IT company. Did everything there, like built the site and did all the search stuff, made all the promotions, all that kind of stuff. First employee they ever let go remote when we had to move to Texas. Like they were there's a very small company, they're very like tight knit, and I was like, I'm leaving regardless. So if you want me to work, you're gonna have to let me go remote. Boss hated that. Like my boss hated that. Like he was he was very, very old school. Like he put,
oh god,
yeah. So he needed to like have watch over me all the time. He put tracking software on my computer. Like,
are you serious?
There were times, yeah, my screen would flash a little bit, and I knew he was like on his computer in my computer.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
God.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. Cool. So, like one day I finished a project that I worked on for so long, like maybe 6-8 weeks of just like constant work on this project. I sent him like the project via email, and he responded back, and there's like one little thing that he like wanted to change, and he's like, this wasn't what I expected. It wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be. And I was like, what do you mean? Like you said like this was good, and there's like one little thing, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, it just seems like you would put more effort in than that. And I was like, my email, I'm not even kidding you, like I emailed back, I still have the email. I emailed back, and it was like, today's my last day, like period. And that's what I said. Yeah. And he was like, no, you have to give us 2 weeks. And I was like, the fuck I do. I'm not doing that. Like I'm out. Like that was so that hit so hard. Like one, I wasn't getting paid as much as you should be in that position, and so I just didn't care. And I quit. And that was like on a Tuesday. I took Wednesday off, and I applied for my current job that I have right now on Thursday. Had an interview on Friday, and started on Monday. And I've had that job for 5 years, right? They've been with me in Texas. When we moved to California, they were cool with it. When we moved back, they were cool with it. It's been super, like my job's been super, super great. So one of the best things that's ever happened to me was my boss being a dick, right? Like,
yeah, no kidding.
I don't know. But yeah, that's my like background about me.
How'd you meet your wife?
That's what I want to talk about next. Good. Thank you for thank you. Thank you for making sure I was going to talk about my wife, but I was already, Jenna, I was segueing into that. Don't worry. Because this is... Go ahead.
That was one of my questions, because you talked about Jenna on your stream. I was like, is that his top mod or something? So, okay, cool. So
no, although she is my only... Well, yeah, she's my only VIP. So, but yes, we met in college. It was my last year of college, her second to last year of college. And we were out clubbing, and I never ever like go to clubs, right? It's not my thing. I don't like loud noises or people. So we were out, and like I was wingmanning for my friend Angus. He's actually in my stream a lot too. IRL, like obviously was wingmanning for him. Because I don't know, like man, I was content in college just hanging out with my friends, right? Like I just had a really, really good time. I wasn't always like, I was never looking to like date, right? My parents had like a pretty messy divorce, so I was just like, like let's just hang out with people, have a good time, and it put me in the wingman position a lot, and I got really good at it, like really good at wingmanning. It was super cool. My friends met a lot of their girlfriends and stuff through me, and people they hung out with in general. But I was wingmanning for my friend Angus, and we saw this girl at the bar, and she looked really, really pretty, and I was like, hey, that girl's really, really pretty. And he's like, yeah, she is. And I was like, you should go talk to her. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. It's scary. and so we left. Like, we left the bar, went to another club, and her and her friends, like, roll into, again, the same club, which, like, doesn't happen. It's in Minneapolis. Like, there's a lot of bars and stuff around there. It doesn't happen very often to see the same person immediately after you decide not to talk to them because you're too afraid to. And so they walk in, and I guess apparently we were staring a little too hard, because at one point she had gone like to the bathroom with her friends, and it was like that's like an upper level, and we were on the lower level, and we saw her come like to the top of the stairs, and we looked at her again, and she was just like looking back at us, and we're like, yeah, okay, so she knows. And her friend Tessa actually came and pushed her down the stairs a little bit. She didn't fall. And then like towards us to talk to us. And Jenna walks up to my friend Angus, so I was supposed to be wingmanning for. I was supposed to introduce him to her. Shakes his hand like all prim and proper, and then kind of just like walks towards me and starts talking to me. And I look at Jenna, and I was like, oh, she's really pretty. I look at Angus, and I was like, he's pretty too, and a friend of mine. But I think I'm gonna talk to her, I think. and so I did, and for the first time, I don't know, there's just something like almost, it's not like love at first sight, right? Like I don't necessarily believe in that, but I do believe in like really instant connections with people. Like you start talking to somebody, and you're just like, wow, this person is different than the other people that I talk to, right? Yeah. And there was just something like instant there, where I was like, for the first time, I was like 23 or whatever, for the first time since my first crush in high school, I was like, I really I really like talking to this person. Like I really like being around this person, right? Yeah, and so like I got her number and I was like, no, I'm gonna text you at like 10 a.m. tomorrow. Like when you wake up, and she's like 10, and I was like, cool, I'm texting you right away. Like I'm in my head, I'm like, I'm not doing this thing where like I try to be cool and and text like a week later, right? And I was like, I like you. I'm gonna text you tomorrow at 10 a.m. And she was like, okay, yeah, right, or whatever. And then I did. And you know, we went on our first date, and you know, the rest is history or whatever. But
oh my god, that's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I realized later that the 10 a.m. thing also it's not as good as I thought it was in my head, right? Like it's better than waiting a week and a half and pretending you're not interested at all or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
But it turns out like at the time she thought that I could have been potentially like a murderer. So she was like, well, she's like, like I like him enough. Like if I'm gonna get eliminated by somebody in game, it can be Corey or whatever. But it wasn't as like charming and as endearing as I thought. It was gonna be to like text her as soon as she wake up. Like I could have waited until like 3 p.m. or something. It would have been a little bit better. Yeah, but it's okay. It worked out.
It was like cool. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic, man! And you can just tell you're happy. That's very cool.
Yep, that's true. I don't know, it's been good. It's really good.
Cool. All right, so now video gaming. So when did you start playing video games?
I started playing RuneScape when I was like it had to be maybe like fifth grade, fourth or fifth grade, because I remember making up all these lies to my friends about how good I was at RuneScape, and because none of them really ever played. I had like a couple of them.
Yeah.
And then I also made up a story. This is the first time I've ever told anybody this, actually. I don't know why. It's just like, okay. I was like a member in RuneScape, which you had to pay for, which didn't happen when you were like, when you were my age in my town, like your parents did not pay for video games and stuff, right? Like we didn't, like I said, we didn't have like a ton of money. So paying a subscription fee for a free game, never going to happen. So I stole my dad's credit card. And I did it anyway. And my friends were like, how did you become like a premium member or whatever? And you know what, this dumb, like I'm a little kid. I made up this story. I had a dog named Koko. And he would get out a lot. My friends knew that. He got out. I was like, oh yeah, my dog Koko. He got outside and he was running around and he almost got hit by a car. But I ran and like I dove and I scooped him up. And my mom saw me scoop him up. And she was like so happy that I had saved our dog Koko that she was like, what do you want? Like anything. Like what do you need, Corey? What do you need, son? I'll get you whatever you want. And I was like, I want a prescription by the way. I want a subscription membership to RuneScape. And that's what I told my friends. And I was like, yeah, I did it because I was so heroic and I saved my dog. But it was not. I stole my dad's credit card to get this premium membership so I could be better than all my friends. I could get access to all the worlds because dude, I have the biggest inferiority complex of all time. Like I legit, I have imposter syndrome, and I'm just like, I never ever feel like I'm doing good at something. So I have to like prove that I am right all the time. And I've had that my whole life. And I started there, I guess, where I had to be the best RuneScaper. But then I moved into Modern Warfare when that came out, Call of Duty, first-person shooters and stuff like that. Used to fight with my brother over the console. Used to get kicked off the internet when my mom answered the calls at home because we had dial-up. I used to do whatever I could to get host advantage in those games because when you I don't think people realize that we used to have games, like all those games were hosted by us at our house, right? So we would host the game. It wasn't server side, and then all of our friends and enemies would connect to our host, and that's why people used to like leg switch and all that kind of stuff too. But yeah, so I used to do all this like janky stuff online. I learned how to change my NAT type and all that kind of stuff when I was like 12, which obviously isn't that impressive now because everybody who games is 12 and it's easy. But like none of my friends did that, so I've made it so I would always get host, and holy did I feel like I was good at the game.
The king.
No, I was so bad. But yeah, I've been playing for a long time. So
yeah. So now, what all-time favorite game? What would you classify that as?
I mean, at this point, it's got to be Fortnite. I mean,
how did you find Fortnite?
Okay, so I used to play Rocket League a lot, and I like games that have really, really, really good engines and physics and stuff. Like they're just really well made, right? So I know a lot of people like I know a lot of people like to play any game, right? Like, as long as it's fun with my friends or whatever, like I enjoy it. But I'm not like that. Like if I'm playing and it doesn't feel good or like it doesn't sound good, or it's not new or different or challenging, like I don't really enjoy playing it.
Yeah.
And so like Rocket League is like that, right? It's, you know, it's Hot Wheels soccer. It's fun, but it's got these mechanics, these physics that are crazy. They're actually so well done. It doesn't make any sense. So I got addicted to that. And then my friends who were playing Rocket League switched over to Fortnite, and I jumped on and I was like, oh, this is stupid. Like let's go back to the soccer game, bro. Let's go back to driving our cars around. But they didn't want to. They wouldn't do it. So we started playing more and more and more. And I was like, okay, I actually really feel like I enjoy how this game like feels. Like I enjoy the engine, the physics. I love the way that it looks. It's like cartoony but serious, and I don't know. It was just like this different game. It kind of captured like a part of me that I didn't really know existed with gaming or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like the building aspect, man, that 40 like chess stuff is something that really, really, really gets addicting. Like you get so addicted at becoming better at this aspect of a video game that doesn't exist anywhere else. Like it just doesn't. The building and the editing combined with shooting, it doesn't happen. And I've been addicted ever since, man. I probably played almost a year's worth of time of my life on this video game.
Oh my God.
Now, so it's like a year of my life has been spent playing video. At least a year of my waking life for sure. Yeah. Right. Has been spent playing Fortnite, and I don't know. And I'm not even good at it. I just love it. It's just so fun.
You enjoy it, yeah. That's all that matters. That's cool. So now, in your opinion, what has Epic done to keep Fortnite fresh and like sort of at the top of like these esports, you know, category?
Yeah, I mean, Epic has since the beginning done a lot of like weekly releases and different challenges, and obviously the in-game events. Those, I think a lot of people point to in-game events as like a reason people stay. I don't agree necessarily. I think that it is a massive payoff, right, for putting your time in to the game and stuff, and they just do it better than anybody. But I don't think that like the cinematics are the reason that people stay on the game. A lot of people will say that it is, but I don't know. It's one of those things where Epic has just consistently changed seasons really quickly. The battle pass is really, 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 really good. Like all the skins are really, really good. It's just a really well thought out and well marketed game. And honestly, like at the very, very beginning too, they were listening to everything that the player base said, which isn't always a good thing, right? Like we've had some issues with that, and there's been some really bad metas because of that, or guns have been completely ruined because of that, or whatever, like items, whatever. Like they listened to us too much at the beginning, and now a lot of people probably argue that they don't listen to us enough, right? And they're trying to find this happy balance. But they have, regardless of whether it's been through our feedback or their own decisions, changed things a lot and often. We always talk about different metas. Like the last 90 days or last 2 seasons or so since Chapter 3 started has been a really rough meta for a lot of people. I think you're seeing a lot of burnout from content creators and especially pro players. Like people, like pro players aren't playing this game like they used to. They used to grind at 12, 15 hours a day to be like at the top. Now they're doing maintenance, right? They hop on and try to stay like warm and mechanicked up and all that kind of stuff, but then they're on Valorant and then they're on other games, or they're just relaxing. And I think that speaks to the meta, not the game, right? The game is in an incredible state. For casuals, it's fantastic, like with the 0 builds and stuff. But like there are meta shifts that affect which players in your player base want to play, right? And that's good, and that's part of the reason they've stayed so healthy for so long, and why things have felt so fresh is because one season you'll have a casual season, one season you'll have a kind of a mid season where it's like casuals enjoy it, pros kind of like it, but it's nobody's favorite season. And then you'll have seasons that are like really competitive. So like Chapter 2 Season 1 was the longest season in the history of Fortnite, and it was also the one that was the most basic loot pool. It was a brand new map, so they're making sure everything was working there. There's a couple of mechanics like swimming and things like that they added. And then the loot pool, I mean, it was 3 guns, right? It was like shotgun, AR, sniper, and then you had your heals, and that was it. And it was like that for like 130 days, and I loved it. I mean, it was very basic, right? I was like, I just get to build and run around and shoot. Like, it's so fun. But casuals didn't like that much. And then like this season, you know, we have a meta that is just, it's chaotic. I mean, it is just, it is
Now, when you're talking about a meta, are you talking about the gun how a certain gun is nerfed or something different?
Okay, so yeah, with the meta, what I'm referring to is essentially the entire, like, what is the most easy way to get victory royales, right? So the meta would become like this season, you carry a drum gun, a combat SMG, which is the best shotgun that's ever existed in the game, the best SMG that's ever existed in the game, and an AUG, and that's the best AR that's ever existed in the game. And you just run around kind of with like broken, busted weapons. It's easier to get kills than ever, or eliminations. Sorry, it's easier to get eliminations than ever, and it's not that fun because it kind of not that fun for people who play a lot, right? Like I play a lot, and especially pros, right? Which is why they're getting burnt out. It's not that fun for people who play all the time because there's not as much challenge involved, but it does reduce the skill gap, especially in combination with the zero build game mode, which takes in my opinion, the hardest aspect of the video game out of the game. It makes it easier for casuals to get into it and to enjoy it. Like if you have never played Fortnite before, since season 1 of chapter 1, there's never been a better time to get into the game right now because you have all of these different entry points where you can just jump in, and it's easier in the zero build game mode. You can learn the weapons. Kills are easier because the weapons are overpowered. Heals are easy to use. All that kind of stuff, right? And if you like the game, then you can maybe hop in creative and learn how to build a little bit, or hop into the public game mode and play against people who are building and things like that. Or if you just really like the zero build game mode, you can stay in that. And it's been amazing. Like they have got, I think, the largest active casual player base they've had since Fortnite was at its peak, right? Since probably the beginning of chapter 2. And that's been wonderful, but we need to switch back, I think.
Yeah, because it's funny you say that, because that's, because of no bills, I actually fired it up and I played it for the first time. And I look at the Escape from Tarkov community where I spend a lot of my time. We've seen a whole bunch of people just switch over and start playing that, and they've come back. But I was going to ask you your take on the no bills, and you're exactly right. It just drew so many people to that game because the building of it is the reason I stayed away from it, because like I see people do amazing crap and it's like, I can't do that. I'm not going to play this game.
Yeah, right. Well, and did you like it? Like, did you like the zero build game?
I did enjoy the zero build because it was just a fun first person shooter. Like you said, the mechanics, all this other stuff that's in there, it is fun.
Right.
But
And
like you said, for the professionals, I can see them looking to do something different then.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it too is like, for people who've been playing since the beginning, it's 4 years old, 5 years old almost, right? We're into almost, we're in our 5th summer season coming up here, right? With the release of the next season, we'll be in the 5th time we've had a summer season, and they're usually really, really fun. But yeah, I mean, the zero build game mode has been something that I think I know when it first came out, I was like, I can't, like, this is ridiculous, bro. Like, there's no shot Epic is taking this game that I love and removing the reason I love it, right? Like, there's and it's, I'm like, if you don't like Fortnite, you don't like Fortnite. But like a week or two into it, seeing like Ninja and Tfue and Tim the Tatman and Lupo and Courage and stuff all come back and have fun. Seeing all my friends who don't have the time, like I stream Fortnite for 5 to 6 hours a day, right? Like I get even if I'm not practicing and grinding mechanics, right? I'm not a pro level player. I'm really not. I get pooped on all the time by really good players, but I'm better than, I would say I'm in like the top 1% of all Fortnite players. If you talk active players, like I'm in the top 1%, and then there's pros who are like at the very, very top, right? And I'm not even close, but like I'm better than almost anybody who plays. And I look at the game from that frame a lot. And that's, bases my decisions and opinions about stuff. But seeing all the people come back, seeing people come over from Tarkov and Valorant in games where the barrier to entry was too high because of the building, removing that aspect so they could come and play with their friends in a game that their friends really, really love, but has been too difficult for them to play because it takes so long to master that building aspect, has been really, really great. Like I argue with people who come in from Epic to my stream sometimes, like my friend Craig Looney. He's like the best dude ever. I love that dude. He's been super, super helpful, super, super transparent about things for creators and all that kind of stuff. He's our lifeline to Epic a lot. But like when he came in, I was like, dude, this is dumb. Like I looked at his name in my chat and I pretended it was like I was looking him in the eyes and I was like, this is the stupidest thing you guys could have ever done. And it wasn't. It was really smart. And I think it goes to show that in any game, I'm sure it happens in Tarkov too. Like the developers might make a decision where you're like, well, why? Like, and in your gut reaction is to hate it. I wish we didn't do that, because I think a lot of times it's a deliberate action for the better of the game. I would say most of the time that's like they're trying to improve the game. Nobody's trying to kill their game, right? And if you just take a step back and think about it from like other players' point of views, I think you can start to be okay with stuff. And I was one of the players, I think, that got the least frustrated this season with the zero builds. Like one of the content creators got the least frustrated because I eventually got to a point where I was open-minded and I was excited about the game mode.
Because I'm sure it can't be fun, because you guys spend so much time playing this game. You have a certain skill set that's crucial to this game, and now all of a sudden they flip the switch and like half the people are doing something else, and the lobby that you're trying to play in is like you're waiting or whatnot. It's just not the same.
Yep. And it diversifies it dilutes the player pool too, right? So it spreads people out across different games, which makes queue times longer. It gives you more AI in games, and I don't like fighting against AI. I know that it's really beneficial for new players and stuff, or players who aren't like a relatively high skill level, but I don't enjoy it, man. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's funny you say the AI, because I played my first game and like, hey, I went to my son, like, yeah, look at this, I got 3 kills. They're like, Dad, that's AI. Oh, okay. Okay,
brutal though. I mean, your son didn't have to do that to you, right?
Know.
Just like, I gotta let you be happy. If my mom got 3 kills, I'd be like, hell yeah, Mom, that was booga. I'm proud of you. Holy, But no, I get it. I mean, it is one of those things where it's necessary for the game.
So now, do you like? I see, on stream, I see you playing solo with other people. What's your, do you prefer one over the other, or just mix it up?
So when when I'm streaming, I do not like playing with other people at the beginning of my stream. It's really, really important for me with my community to have like good chat interaction. Like I am spending all of my time in the morning talking to chat with Fortnite running in the background, right? My favorite way to play tournaments is also solo. Like we've talked about before, right? I have this kind of like I don't feel like I'm good enough all the time, right? And so like in solos, if I make a mistake or if I do bad, it only affects me, right? Same thing with streaming, like if I have solos on in the background, if I die, I can laugh it off. Nobody else got affected by it, right? But I do prefer playing the public game modes, even the arena game modes, non-tournaments, and all the zero build game modes I prefer playing with friends. I just prefer. I have so many cool friends, man. And we already talked about Nicky, but like I have so many people that I've met from streaming that are so fun to play with. The Fortnite community has been so cool. We've kind of like cornered this part of the Fortnite Twitch community where it's like we have like, I don't know, I would say a network of probably 25 to 30 like streamer friends who are just amazing, and we have overlapping communities, and they're like adults or mature younger people, and it's just so fun that after maybe like 2 or 3 hours into my stream of solos, I really want to hop in with a friend and just vibe out. And when I'm off stream, playing casual is so much more fun to play with friends and stuff too. So I'm business wise, community wise, like growth as a streamer wise, having fun for me at the beginning of the day. Solos, talking to my chat. The funniest people on the planet are in my community. It's so fucking cool. I love it. It's so easy to stream when you have like people you can bounce things off of. And so I wouldn't give that up ever, right? I wouldn't give up the solos right away ever. But at a certain point, hopping in with a friend, there's nothing quite like gaming with your friends, right?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 tracks I want to go down. First, on the streaming solos. Like I had a couple of content creators on, and they basically say, when they're streaming and they're solo, they're storytellers, or it's their opportunity to spend time with their chat.
Right.
And then if they're doing a round or another stream with somebody else, they basically tell, hey, chat, today is like, you guys watch and I'm pretend I'm playing with this guy, and you're observing. But most of the time, you have your storytelling chats, streamers, versus your guys that are cracking head streamers, versus your guys that are like the Dr. Disrespect guys that have a stick to them.
Right.
So, and then the guys that are interactive with their chat. It's just such a great experience and such a great community. Like that's when I first popped into yours. It was like was like, holy shit, this guy is so good with his chat, saying good morning to everybody, and it's just so welcoming. I was like, I don't see that in many other content creators.
I mean, that's weird to me too, because I agree. Like it's one of the things that was most important to me when I started was, if I'm gonna do this, like I'm gonna do it with people, right? Like I'm going to. Yeah. I mean, you've seen it. I talk a lot. You know?
My God.
But I don't know.
You have to.
Yeah. But even like in this, right, in our conversation, like I love talking. I love hearing other people's stories. I love joking with people and bantering with people and bouncing off of different people's jokes and you know, just I don't know. It's so fun for me to have the chat to talk to that I actually struggle in the streamer games, the collabs, right? Like I'm not that good at it. I'm always kind of drawn to looking over my chat, and I'll see something and I'll mute up and I'll comment on that. And it's so like there's a lot of streamers and content creators who only play with other people and like that's their content, and you're there to watch. It's like a TV show, right? And I want to get better at that so bad. There's no wrong way to stream, in my opinion. Like that, if you can entertain people, you're doing it right. But I see that weakness like in me, right? When I play with other people, I'm just not that good. And I know when I ignore chat, right, and I talk to people, then it's like then my friends that I'm playing with become what I was doing with chat, right, where we're bannering and we're bouncing off of each other and stuff like that. But I don't do a good enough job of switching between chatting streamer to friend collaboration streamer, right? And I think that a lot of people don't do a good enough job at becoming that interactive with their chat streamer too, which I think is incredibly essential. I do think that I'm good at building a community, right? I'm good at connecting people together. I'm good at remembering things about your life and all that kind of stuff, right? Like I'm good at that, and I think that that's something that a lot of content creators don't try to get good at, and I think that they're hurting themselves, especially at the beginning. I can't think of an easier way to grow than welcoming every single person who comes into your chat, unless they're a troll or just the worst, right? But like welcoming, like if you have somebody who's in there and they're cordial and nice and you can ask them a question about their day or whatever, and remember that, like if you remember that thing, man, people love that. I love that. That's why I go back to people's communities. That's why I started streaming in the first place, right? Like you hop on and you form this connection with somebody, and it's like it's got to be like a real connection. And I think what my community feels for me is that I do care about like all of the stuff that is going on in our lives, and even like as we grow, like I haven't lost that. There are obviously like more people in my chat now than when I first started, so I can't be like, you know, entire 2-hour conversation with my buddy Taser or Zach the Fly Mac, right? But like it's still so important to me to make you feel like I care, because I do. Like and you need to know that, and that's how like my community has grown to what it is now, and if it keeps growing, hopefully, right, that's going to be because of that too. Like I don't want people to feel like they're just a viewer, right? Like viewer is like one of my least favorite words, right? I don't like, so I don't play viewer games, right? Like we do community games. Like I can't do it. I can't refer to people as a viewer or a fan or things like that. I'm not able to, because that's not the relationship that we have, right? That's not what I'm trying to do, you know? And I don't know. Cool.
So now who do you roll with mainly? Who's the crew when you're doing, you know, when you're playing with other people? Who are your crew that you know, your main people you're rolling with?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, it's like Alixxa. Like that is one of my best friends. Like she's one of the funniest people on the planet, one of the best content creators on the planet. Actually, I have her stream on in the background right now while we're talking. She's somebody who's been incredibly supportive since the day that I met her. She's been a really, really good friend. She is a major reason why my community is what it is right now. She's introduced me to a couple people, and she's incredibly talented at the game, right? She's super, super, super good, super funny, really good at content creation, all that kind of stuff. So like she's definitely like the person that I probably run with the most. After that, like we have Rodey. If you haven't been in Rodey streams, Oh God, I love that dude. My wife calls him my work wife, which is funny because I don't consider this work yet. But but yeah, he's been somebody who one, also really really talented. You'll notice a pattern of me playing with people who are really good because it makes me feel better about myself. But he's super good at the game. He's a big YouTuber too. Rodey Bros is his YouTube, and he has a second YouTube channel called Rodey. Sorry for the promo.
That's all right. Dude, this is your pod. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, but I mean, he legit.
Know who you are.
I appreciate that, for real. But yeah, so like he's funny, dude. Like I love funny, lighthearted people, and he's good at this. So I'll play with people. I'll surround myself with people who I can learn from and I can grow with, and all that kind of stuff. I've been playing competitive events with Maddie NF. She's down here in Texas, same city as me. She's an absolute blast to play with. Super good at the game. Obviously, there's the pattern. Super nice, super funny. We go and get drinks and stuff. Sometimes go get dinner and things like that. So yeah, it's good to be playing with people who you know, like in real life, also who are also like content creators. Dude, I don't know. I have so many people I love to play with. Vanessa and Rafi, BonsaiBroz, Reddish.
Oh my God, the BonsaiBroz. So on the, I don't know if it was Monster D-Face or Nicky. I think Nicky was talking about them. And one day I checked it out. I was like, oh my God, these guys have so much energy. And me up.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's bullshit because there's two of them. Yeah. So like they can expend like twice as much energy and have the same amount of stream as we do, right? So like, you know, Sean can go really hard and be really funny for 2 hours, and then he'll just like pass out and his tongue's like out of his mouth, and and Travis taps in, way less funny than Sean, but also he's fine or whatever. Like he'll tap in, he'll have that same energy and all that kind of stuff, and it's cheating. There's two of them. Yeah. But like they're really, they are like everybody else who I surround myself with, and people who like I want to be friends with. They're motivated, they're passionate about it, their production value is incredibly high. Sean and Travis, they both rehearse, even though they say they don't. Okay, they both rehearse little like skits and jokes and things they want to do, like when they get rated, all that kind of stuff. Like they're really really prepared for this. They're really well spoken. And by the way, it's not like they don't have a whole script, I'm sure, but you know, they have points they want. You can tell, all right, there's like a storyline that they're trying to get to in this scene that they're saying right now or whatever. But yeah, they're always up for anything, right? I think a lot of my friends are like that too when it comes to competitive stuff. Maddie, Alina, Trix, Rafi, Vanessa, Rodey, Jive and Beans, Crip. God, I love Crip. If you haven't checked out Crip, you need to. Oh, so good. Like, there's like 3 tier 1 pros in the world who actually have like a decent personality in Fortnite, and Crip is one of them. Like, it's so awesome. Dude, I could talk about my friends forever. I don't know, and I don't want to miss anybody, so I'm just gonna stop talking about everybody by name for a second and just say that like everybody I play with, there's a reason that I play with them, right? They're just really, really passionate about whatever they're doing, whether they're content creators or if they're like Trix and Rafi. Damn it, I said I was gonna stop talking about people's names, but they're people who like they want to get better, and they want the content on your stream to be good, and they want you to have a good time, and they, even if they're like those two specifically are like way better than me at the video game, they'll do a really good job of slowing down their game and kind of meeting you halfway. To make it way more fun to play, right? They kind of chameleon your play style a little bit, and it's really, really impressive. And it's why Trix is so fun to play with, and why he's gonna like duo with Rodey this season in competitive stuff. It's why Rafi is always like on Vanessa's stream. He's dating Vanessa. Like Vanessa, the streamer, which Vannessuh. Sorry, it's a UH that threw me. It spelled like Vanessa with a UH at the end instead of an A. She's amazing too. But they're always playing together because he's so streamable, right? It's just good content. He's good vibes, and he, like, everybody knows, you know, when to be quiet when you're talking to chat, when to talk when you're not. Like, it's perfect. We have this community, this network of friends who I'm leaving a lot of people out of. And I, you know, if you have like a 3-hour podcast, I'll name everybody. But that just
now. How are so many, like, are you flying out to meet hang out with these people, or just Texas is sort of the place where a lot of them live?
No, I mean, so the Bonsais live in Austin. Yeah, they live in Austin, and we have gotten together a couple times now. We went to SypherPK's birthday party. That was super, super fun. To meet people from Oni Studio, who are awesome. But as far as like Texas goes, it's Punisher is here and Maddie and F is here in this city. Same with Somerset. Kayla, she's an LG. I think she lives in the Dallas area too. But like me and Maddie and Pun, we've gone out for dinner. And that's been really, really fun. And yeah, I got to get Pun out more. I mean, he's competitive. Like he's playing FNCS right now, so he's got a busy schedule. But his wife Emily's incredible. Maddie's boyfriend Devin is awesome. Yeah, and we get together, whenever we can, and just kind of shoot the shit. But it's really, really nice to have somebody. I think Devin and Jenna, they're both like quiet, right? They are both incredibly interesting, and you can get them both talking for sure. But they're definitely defaulting to like listening a lot. And so when me and Maddie go get dinner with them, it's like we are just talking about streaming the entire time. And you can tell, like, Devin's eating his burger. He's like, this is an interesting conversation. And Jenna's just sipping on her drink, and she's like, look, birds. But like they care. But like all we're doing for 3 hours is talking about streaming. But it's because we fucking love it. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's hard when you get in. Yeah, and when you get in a situation that you're not often in. Like I can't talk about streaming with my coworkers at work. I talk about streaming all the time with Jenna, but she doesn't stream. And she doesn't game like that. So she's very, 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 very supportive. She's learning as much as she can about everything. She knows basically everything I'm talking about anyway, but she doesn't have that same like experience, right? So when we're actually sitting down with somebody who does, I mean, me and BonsaiBroz, we went to a burritos at this crappy burrito place in Austin. Yeah. And okay, I shouldn't say that. He's really, Sean's like favorite thing. But anyway, it's like not that good. But we sat there with like stale chips and our tin foil like all crumpled up for like 3 hours after we were done eating, just talking about streaming and esports and gaming in the future and all that kind of stuff. And it's something where you have this, it's built up. It's what I'm doing right now to you, right? You have this like built up thing that you can't really talk about with other people because they don't get it as well, and then you just like puke it out and you can't stop talking about it.
No, I totally get like playing Tarkov and streaming. I can't talk to my real life friends about it. I have no clue. Like
there's not a lot of 50-year-old guys out here talking about Twitch and YouTube podcasts and Tarkov. What?
No, in Tarkov, yes, not in real life, but you know what? I can spend hours talking about the game and everything like that. But to meet somebody in IRL and just like you said, spend 3 hours in this crappy little taco joint and talk about everything. It's a passion that you have for it. It's great.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, it's really, really awesome. Like when we went to that birthday party, Sypher's company, Oni Studios, like all the employees were there. Yeah. People that I know, people I'm friends with, right? And like just talking about things that I have no idea about, right? I've never learned about like the video editing aspect, which I need to learn. I never learned about what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know about algorithms on YouTube. I don't know why. Like I didn't know why they chose like different video concepts for different releases. They are one of the most impressive companies I've ever seen. I mean, it is a company that is just there for improving the content of the creators on their that they're working with, right? And they're doing everything. It's a whole like holistic thing where they're going through like what makes you more marketable. Like we'll help you with brand deals, we'll help you with this, we'll help give you ideas for content to do on stream, which you can turn into a YouTube video, which you can market this way, which you can do that, and then they're going to post it at this time, and the thumbnail needs to look like this, and they're doing research from different aspects of Twitch, and then they're researching YouTube, and they're researching TikTok, and they have all of this. It's this whole thing where you can start to understand why Sypher's got this almost monopoly over like casual fun Fortnite YouTube videos, right? I mean, there's still a lot of really good YouTubers out there who are doing it, but there's nobody that has like a plan like his team does, and that obviously comes from him and Daniela, or like his wife, who have put together this whole plan that they've, I'm sure, been executing on their own for years. And they put it into play at a larger scale, and talking to all of those people. Oh, dude, I've never you ever do something where like you got get out of a conversation, you just want to like run through a wall and you just want to go. Like I have been since that day. It's like just like put that in my veins. Like I'm like I want to be good at this. You know what I mean? I want to learn. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like I just want to full send like jet fuel up my ass and just go. Like oh my god.
But it's funny. You said something about the thumbnails, and when Nicky was on, I was talking to him like, why is thumbnails so important? And he said, well, you read, right? I said, yeah. Well, the younger generation, they don't. They need that, popping out picture. I was like, okay, so that's exactly it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's don't judge a book by your cover, but that's what life is now, right? And don't judge a book by its cover. I did that growing up too, right? You can see where you can see. I mean, we do, right? You buy a book or a magazine or a movie based off of the poster, the cover of the book, whatever. You buy an album sometimes. Like, I don't know. I'll listen to music if the guy looks like happy, right? So it's just like.
Or a can of beer,
right?
Buy, like all these beers now have like these wicked graphics. On them. Great.
Hell yeah! There's a brewery down here, Tups. They have this IPA, which I don't love, and it's a sour beer, which I don't really love. But it's called the Juice Pack, and that thing, like, you walk by it, and it's just designed so well, it just speaks to you. You're like, yep, throwing that in my cart. You just have to. Like, it's the same way with thumbnails on YouTube. And like, there's an art to it for sure.
Yeah. So now streaming. So what made you want to stream and go on Twitch?
So I've always been an online person, right? I don't have an issue talking to people in real life. I don't have like social anxiety too bad. I just have like general anxiety, right? So like I am anxious, and like I do over prepare and I do over sweat. So I buy a lot of undershirts and this thing called Sweat. What's it called? Oh my God. I just want to say like Sweat Be Gone or something like that. But there's like this, there's literally like this roll-on deodorant that essentially burns your pores in your armpit, right? That like, dude, it is the most uncomfortable thing in the whole world, but I sweat a lot. And so I use it and it like stops me from sweating, right? So I'm generally anxious. But online, that all goes away, right? Like I even if I am anxious, which I do, like when I'm typing, I want to make sure that I'm saying the right things. When I'm talking to people, I want to make sure that I'm saying the right things, all that kind of stuff. But the pressure is off a little bit there. You couple that with the fact that we moved across the country 3 times, right? We moved from Minnesota to Texas to California, back to Texas. IRL friends are hard to make when you first move somewhere.
Right.
And so you kind of get into this space where you're like, I need somebody to talk to. And I love video games, and I hopped on Twitch and I started watching Tim the Tatman and Dakotas and Lupo. Ninja and stuff like Courage JD when they were on Twitch, and getting really into Fortnite, content creators, really enjoying that. And one time I think Lupo rated Valkyrie, right? And I was like, oh my, she's so funny. Like, she's so funny, and she's not like as good at the game as other people, but like you can like, she's still so entertaining despite that fact. And she wasn't bad ever, right? And so then I was like, wow, okay, this is, and obviously like I'd realized. I hadn't realized yet that like I had been attracted to Lupo and Tim the Tatman and stuff because they were entertaining, not because of their gameplay. I just assumed that it was because they were like the best at the game, but they were never like the best at the game. But it felt like that at the time, right? And then I realized it wasn't their gameplay; it was their personalities. And in Valk, she showed me the same thing. And Valkyrie actually rated one of my friends, Sparkles_QT, right? Sparkles QT. She's in the same vein, right, as Valkyrie, where she's just so funny. She's insane at the game too, which is helpful. And she's really good with her community. And so like I stuck there, hung out, talked to her now fiance Infi a lot, and just really kind of got into this community where I met a lot of people who are in my community now too. And I realized that like, wow, that seems like really fun, right? Like I wish I could do something like that. And so one time my buddy Angus, who I was supposed to set my wife up with when we first met, one time my buddy Angus was going on like a business trip, and he's like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to play Fortnite here. Will you stream it and we'll hang out like we normally do, kind of thing, right? Like, and so he did that. Like I started streaming for the first time, but it was like just for him. And my friend Sparkles, Adriana, she saw that I was live, or somebody like posted in her Discord that I was live, and she like sent everybody. She like added everybody in her Discord and just sent them to my stream. It was like my third ever stream, and so there's all these people that I was meeting and talking to all the time in her community who are now in my community, and I get to do the same thing she was doing at a much smaller scale, right? Where I can talk to them and it's just like fun, and people get to meet me for the first time. They just like they had my they had my face finally for the first time, and my voice, and it was really cool. So then I went live again, and Adriana kept being like super supportive and super kind, and I was fortunate enough to be in a position where, because of how much time I'd spent on Twitch talking to other people, and like I had a friend group already that made it so getting to affiliate on Twitch wasn't that difficult, right? I mean, I was never really the, one viewer, nobody in chat streamer,
right?
Which is a really, 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 really hard ceiling to crack, right? Like it's something that, like where I was never like, I wasn't instantly at 40 or 70 or 90 or whatever, right? It was like 6 or 9 or 11. I remember like my first time I had a month where I like averaged 10 viewers, right? I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. But I never had that mental struggle of having to break through literally nothing. Like you start with nobody to talk to. That's so hard, I bet, man. Like it has to be. I've seen people struggle with it, which is why like anytime I know. Go ahead.
Yeah, so many of the people I talk to on the pods, they talk about, you just got to talk as if people are there. And I just can't imagine how hard that is. It's just like there's nobody there. Why am I wasting my time doing this?
Right. Yeah. And
one of the content creators said this is how nobody's watching. Who cares? Now's your time to perfect when that first person comes in.
Right.
And then I was going to ask you what it's like, that first person who came in, what's it like? It's like, we're like, holy cow, do I have to act different? What's that? What do I say to them? Am I being interesting enough? But luckily you had people who knew you. So it was
right.
natural.
It was really, really easy. And I feel very grateful for that. Like I'll be grateful to Adriana for like my whole life for that. Right. And I'll be grateful to her for being like the reason that I wanted to do it in the first place. Cause I wanted to replicate what she had. But I do know, like I have seen the struggle. I struggle now, right? Being somebody who is so reliant on, I'm currently too reliant on chat interaction for making good content, for being watchable, in my opinion. And like I'll have slow times, or I'll be not that interesting for a day, and chat, chat is a reflection of how you are at all times. And so if I'm not that interesting, chat's gonna be chilling. They'll be whatever. Like they might listen to music while I'm on or whatever. Like they're there. They're always there, and I love them for that. Like I have such a supportive community. But like if I'm not on, like I can't expect chat to be either. And you just kind of spiral down into this, like, well, I'm bad, chat stinks, I'm bad, like, and so like it's hard to get out of. And I've been working on that for sure. But I think that one thing that people who just start out streaming can do is like what you said, right? Is just talk to yourself like there's people there, and then you have to watch yourself. Like you have to go back into your VOD if you are just starting out and you don't have a super active community yet or whatever. Like you have to make sure that what you're putting out there is something that people would watch. Like you have to watch yourself, and it's uncomfortable and gross, and nobody likes it. But if you sit there and you're listening and you're like, wow, that was boring, everybody else thinks that too. You're never gonna get people to come into your chat and say anything until you can entertain yourself. Right?
Yeah, nope, that's true. Now, do you remember your first mod and your first sub?
First mod was probably Angus Meatwagon.
Yeah.
And then like Zach the Fly Mac. Zach, I think, was my first sub. Him or Jackal XR. So Blake or Zach. Pretty confident first sub. Angus would have been up there too. Buddy Stoob. Yeah, I do. I mean, I remember a lot. About like
do you
the
remember
beginning.
when you got your partner status?
Yeah, that was, dude. Okay, so like that's something that you never ever expect. Like I never ever one time thought that I would get partnered when I started streaming. Nobody does. I feel like you don't. There are people who like get into it and they're like, I'm gonna become the next ninja, and those people like never succeed ever. Yeah. You had to take each step, right? Like Twitch and streaming especially is like it's a series of catalysts. I feel like. So like you get whatever boost. Like I got my boost from Adriana to get to 10 viewers, right? And then like I got another boost to get to 30 and all kind of stuff. Getting close to partner is one of the things that's the most surreal thing, I think, when you start streaming, because it's so many people. I mean, that's 75 average viewers, 75 people in your chat or in your stream on average for an entire month, right, before you can apply.
Right.
And that's such a high number when you start from a lot smaller than that, right? And when I got there and I applied, I spent so much time writing. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna come up with like the best thing. And like a week later, I got like a generic like rejection email, and I was like, they didn't even read it. And like, if they would have read it, I'd have been a partner. Like, can you see how much I love this and how good I am at this? And then I realized I was like, I'm not that fucking good yet. Like I'm not. I'm like, I have so many things I need to work on. And so like I kept streaming and getting better and reapplying. And like on the third time, they accepted me. And I remember I was just sitting here doing like just working. And Jenna was in the other room, like also working in her office, and I just like, Jenna, come here, or whatever. And like, I don't know, like I remember that moment. It's one of the top 5 moments in my life as far as like one of those things that just makes you feel good, right? It's up there with graduating high school and college, with marrying my wife, right? Marrying my wife is a lot higher. It's the highest by far, right? But it's that same kind of feeling, right? Winning state in baseball, right? Like there's these moments of pure like joy that gets released or whatever in your life, and like that was one of them. Like it was like a weight was completely just ripped off my shoulder, and I felt good. Like it's one of those things where you just feel justified in what you're doing, and you feel like what you're doing is good and right, and like you're meant to be doing it. So it was one of those things that, I mean, that I still live off that motivation.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's funny you say like you're getting that partner notification. So many people I've talked to are just like, that's a pinnacle of their, like in the middle of the night they get the email and they're crying or running around. Or I had this DJ who's a world, he traveled the world touring and everything like that, and he goes, but he plays Tarkov, and he made a couple of music videos for Tarkov, and when he got partnered, he goes, that was my highlight. And like, I'm telling my parents about this, and they had, he's 40 something years old, and he's just like, getting partnered was like a milestone for him. He's traveled the world. It's crazy.
I mean, because there's not that many things in life. Like think about all the different aspects of your life where you've accomplished things with like other people, right? Or like or everybody does it. Everybody graduates from high school for the most part, right? Like everybody. Everybody can fall in love, everybody, like all that kind of stuff, and they're ridiculously high highs, but they're like shared experiences, right? Like they're very, very known. Not that many things that you can do in your life, right, are like a representation of something that you did. Like you worked really, really hard for that individual thing that not that many people can relate to. Right. And it's one of those things that it's a justification for the time and effort that you spent in there. It's a step towards the end game of whatever you want from this, right? And I still don't really know what I want out of this, but I do know that like at that point, getting accepted into the partner program is one of those moments where it just feels good, and you feel like you accomplished something. And obviously like you didn't, like your community needed to be there and all that kind of stuff, but it's such a different feeling than a lot of other successes, right? And so like you gotta, I think a lot of people look back on their partner email as like one of the highlights of their lives, and it's so weird, right? It's a fake internet badge that represents an arbitrary number, right? Like once you get to that point, anybody can apply for it, and if you apply enough, you're probably going to get accepted. But it's a symbol of the time. Exactly. And it's something that you guys can celebrate and stuff together, and it's just super cool. So
now you're balancing full-time career and establishing yourself as a Twitch streamer, Fortnite content creator. It's not easy, is it? People think, oh, you're just streaming, you're just playing video games. There's a lot more to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of times when people find out that I have a full-time job on the side when they're in my community, they're really confused. Because I have a really consistent schedule. I stream a lot, right? The last 5 months, I've streamed less every single month because work has gotten really, really busy. But I'm still streaming, over 130 hours a month. At my peak, I was at 210 hours, right? I'm going to get back to 180 to 200 probably pretty soon here. But yeah, it's been a struggle. Like it is one of those worthwhile struggles for sure, because this is what I love, and that's what that's what I do. That's how I make money at work. But it's really interesting because I was really content at my job until I started streaming, right? And until I started streaming and felt that I was good at it. I'm really good at my job. There's a reason I haven't quit besides the money. Like I'm good at it. My coworkers are great. The company's been awesome. Like I said, they followed me from Texas to California and back. The flexibility is amazing. It pays okay, right? And it makes it so like I can work from home and I can stream. I owe so much to my job that like they don't even know that I stream, right? Like I always tell people, they know that I stream, so they stop, like they don't bug me about it, right? Like they're like, what if your boss is watching right now? I was like, oh, my boss knows I stream. They don't fucking know. They have no idea that I stream. Not a single person. But like I'm good at what I do. So like I'll wake up at 5 a.m. I'll work for 2 hours. I'll knock out a ton of work while everybody else is sleeping because nobody's there to bug me, right? I'll stream from 7 to 11 or later, like as late as I can until like work starts pulling me away. Like there's a point in my stream where my energy kind of gets drained because I start thinking about the work that I have to get done, right? And so whenever that point hits, I'll usually get off and I'll go back to work. But yeah, it's been 40 plus hours a week at work, 40 plus hours a week streaming for over 2 years now. And it's been exhausting, and it's put a strain on my relationship. It's put a strain on my work. It's put a strain on my stream. Like it feels like at times I'm not able to do anything 100%, right? I've never been able to give streaming 100%, ever. And never, ever, ever have I been able to fully focus on that. I haven't focused on work fully since I started streaming. And a lot of times when something's got to give, right? It's time with my wife. And that is my least favorite part of it, right? Like I don't, she's so supportive, and she can tell that I love it, and I can tell that she loves that I love it, and she wants to be there. But it's hard when I have to work, right? I'm required to, and I want to stream for a living, and so I'm trying to put everything I can into that, whatever free time I have, and then I know that my wife is, we're married, right? She's she's gonna be here, and so I almost take her for granted sometimes, right? Where it's like, well, if I ignore work, then I'll get fired. If I ignore stream, then I won't grow. If I ignore my wife, so she signed a contract, haha. Like I'll see, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's the,
I know, I get it.
And it's so, it pulls at me so hard every time. Like anytime where I can tell that she's like a little bit sad that we haven't hung out a lot, or that she sees I'm a little bit absent, like, on my phone thinking about stream or doing things like that. Like anytime I have that realization or I notice that she's, not as happy as she could be, that shit hurts, So like we definitely had moments too where we had to like talk about it and kind of restructure time and all that kind of stuff and reprioritize, and it's hard. But it's stressful.
And a lot of the people who've talked to me about doing what they're doing, full-time content creator, they're successful because they have a good partner behind them who supports them. And the partner realizes, I'm happy, doing my content creation. My job's not making me happy. And, it's a few of them are like, go for it. Well, we got enough money to figure this out. Go for it, go all in. But having that supportive spouse is so huge.
It is. Yeah. And I'm very lucky that way. I'm lucky with all the support systems in my life, right? Like I think there's people out there who want to do this on their own. They want to build it on their own. They want to do it on their own. They control everything. They control every aspect of their lives. They don't talk to anybody else. They lock themselves in and they just do it. They just send it. And it's not easy to do that. Like there's just no way. I would have quit a long time ago if I was doing this by myself. There's just so much that you need support for. And I'm the luckiest dude in the world, right? Like I have a great wife with a great job, and like if it gets to that point sometime in the future, she would be one of those people who's like, go all in. Like I can see that you love it. Like you ever talk to somebody and you're talking passionately about things, and they're like locked in to your conversation, right? Like they're there. They're like they're feeling it with you. Right. When I talk
they're not looking elsewhere or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And they're kind of captivated by the way that you talk about something. I don't know. Like I wouldn't want to say like captivated Jenna. She ignores me enough. She's not captivated by everything that I say. I'm not that. I'm not that well spoken, and I'm not that interesting. But there are times where like I'll be talking about this, and I'll be talking to her, and like I can just tell that she can tell how much I love it, and she wants me to do it. And like having that feeling, having that sense from your partner is such a freeing feeling. It's not your parent who doesn't believe in your, dreams to become a musician, right? It's not, it's having that full support feeling is just really, really, really nice. And, and I think it's going to be something that I use, going forward to kind of grow, definitely. Right? Like it's just been awesome.
Cool. So now Nicky Brave Edits movement. How did you get hooked up with them?
Yeah. So you know Brave, right? He's just incredibly into clout chasing, you know. So he hopped. He came up one time with, I don't even know who he was working with, honestly. I really don't. But they were talking about Brave and like the work that he was doing in the YouTube videos he was editing for them, TikToks and all that kind of stuff. I needed somebody to do that. He had been in my stream a couple times already, I think. I don't remember like the Brave origin story that well. I just know that immediately as soon as Nicky came in, it was like, okay, this guy's a friend, right? Like it's kind of one of those, I think the reason I don't remember it that well is because it seems like Nicky and I have been friends for like a lot longer. Like a lot longer. Because he's just got that kind of energy, right? Where, I don't know. And I mean, to be fair, he's got a lot of clients too, right? Like he's been working with a lot of people that I know, and I legitimately don't remember which came first, like which one of my friends used him first for stuff. Like I don't know. The order is all out of whack in my head, but yeah, he's been a really, really, really good friend and a really, really good resource for a long time. I've learned a lot about just like streaming production stuff from him. He's doing my upcoming like rebrand. And he's been amazing all the way through it. He's got a lot of shit going on in his life too, right? Like you know, all family stuff, managing his own streams plus managing his company. Like he's kind of in the same boat where he's got a bunch of different passions and he's got to figure out what percentage of his time to dedicate to those passions.
Right. So. Yeah. Oh, cool. Here. Oh yeah. So what other content creators do you watch? So you named a whole bunch of your friends.
You said Rattled. Okay, I get it. It's true though. I did. It was rapid fire.
I
like,
mean it that way.
Dude, no, but you're not wrong. That's how I talk a lot, right? And like I have this desire to not leave anybody out, and I know I have a million people in my head who have already left out. Who I hope if they ever watch this don't feel left out because I love you, all of you.
We can add it on after.
Yeah,
come
perfect.
Up with a list later. We'll just flip it.
Perfect. We'll just do like a scroll at the end and be like credits, and these are all the people that Swearin loves, right? We'll just do that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like as far as other content creators go, it's the same shit with the people that I watch all the people that I mentioned already, right? All my friends, I'm always watching their streams. I love them a lot. One person in particular, Maddie, MXDDY, Maddie. So there's Maddie NF, awesome, amazing, just like super, 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 super funny, super chill. And then there's Maddie MXDDY, just a complete shit show of just a degenerate, like just no, she is I think the embodiment of my sense of humor, right? And so I'll watch her stream anytime I can. She streams super, super late, so I rarely get to. She's hilarious. I like people like that, right? People who are motivated, but people who are funny, like their personalities are like really come through. I never watch people for their gameplay. Like if I watch FNCS or competitive Fortnite stuff, I always watch a viewing party, right? I'm not watching like the person's actual gameplay. I'm listening to somebody who's funny or interesting talk about what's going on in the background for the most part, right? But people like Maddie, Rodey, Alina, Adriana, like you'll notice a pattern that they're all funny. Like they're just funny people.
Good people.
Just really, and just good people, right? I watch Nick A30 a lot in the morning. That's somebody who really gets me like motivated to stream. Like he is the consummate professional, right? He's there. He's got everything buttoned up. He knows his brand. He knows who he is. He knows his content. And he talks about his process a lot on stream. Yeah. And it's just really motivating to watch in the morning. Loser Fruit is like that too, right? Where she's so uniquely herself that it's impossible to not watch her. Like when I first watched her streams, I was like, I don't know. Like, I was like, I don't get it. Why do people love her so much? And then you stay there for like 2 minutes, right? Because she's got such a dry sense of humor, right? It's very deadpan. Like the jokes that she makes are almost like if you aren't listening, you'll miss them, kind of thing. And everything she says is just funny in that exact like deadpan sense that there is no like change in inflection. Like there's just she's so interesting to watch. She's one of the most unique personalities on the platform. Cool. I love people like that, right? Like people who are just unique. If I haven't seen it before, or if it's a personality that I really, really fuck with, that's what I'm drawn to for sure. Awesome.
So now, what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start out into content creation?
Yeah, I think that's the question that people get asked the most when you talk to a streamer, right? And realistically, it's I think first and foremost, you don't have to buy super expensive stuff, right? Like everybody that I know, including like I have I want to be a professional content creator starter kit, right? Like I have the Sony, whatever, the A6000 or whatever, this A63, whatever it is, whatever, like a $500 camera with a $200 lens with key lights on either side of me with a 3-monitor setup and the Shure SM7B with the Go XLR. Like I'm looking at all this stuff that increases the production value of my stream. It makes me feel like I'm putting out the best content that I can. Stream Deck, right? I have an Elgato foot pedal. Right. I have a Herman Miller chair, right? Like all this stuff that you put all this money into, or like the good combinations of it's like your loadout for stream, right? Like you put you don't need that when you first start. You need a decent camera, right? A $60 camera. You need to, whatever your microphone is, make sure it's elevated from your desk so you're not bumping around and you hear all this like thumping, right? Like this, so you need a mic arm probably, but the mic doesn't need to be that expensive. You need to make sure that whatever equipment you have, you watch YouTube videos on how to optimize that in OBS. Like how do I make the hyper whatever the heck like microphones sound good? How do I make this $30 camera look good? Like what can I do to control all of the things that I can control with the production value of my stream? If you have bad internet, fine, stream at a lower quality, whatever, that's okay. You don't have to have the best stuff. Just make sure that what you do have is optimized, and then start streaming and watch yourself stream. Like it is the simplest, easiest advice that you could ever give anybody, and nobody ever fucking does it. Like you stream, you record, or you watch your VOD back, and you listen to how you sound. You don't focus on your gameplay. But if you are watching and you're not commentating on your gameplay, if you're not narrating what you're doing, and you're just sitting there in silence, that's not going to be entertaining to people. If you're listening there lamenting why there's nobody in your chat, there's not going to be anybody in your chat, right? Like if you aren't talking, the people won't have anything to respond to. And especially if you're not incredible at the game, which basically everybody sucks, okay? Like all of my friends really great at the game, right? Sure. But we all kind of suck in comparison to people who are really, really good. Not that many people are exclusively watching us for our gameplay. It's especially true for people who are my age usually, right? Your age, like people who aren't the best mechanical players in whatever video game they're playing. Right. Like you have to understand that that's not that important, but you have to narrate what you're doing. You have to be somebody who is entertaining to somebody who hasn't spoken yet. And the second that somebody speaks into your chat, you have to make a connection with them. You don't read their comment and be like, yeah. Like just like you nod your head and say yes, right? Or like if somebody's like, hey, what gun is that? You can't just be like, oh yeah, this is the drum shotgun, and then and then don't find, like, people do that all the time. They'll answer a question and then they won't find a way to re-engage that chatter. And what is that person gonna, what are they just gonna sit there and it's a question and answer stream like that? Okay, sweet. What's that gun? What's that item do? Right? Is that going to be what your chat is? No. Is that person going to be there for a long time entertained by you responding to their questions they could just Google? No. Like you need to ask them about like what games they play, if they like that weapon, if they've ever used it before, to ask them about their day, what's their job, if they don't have a job because they're in school, like ask them what their favorite thing to learn in school is. Make a joke about something. If they say something stupid, tell them they said it was stupid in a funny way, or tell them what they said was stupid in a funny way and get them to respond back to you. Like there's so much you can do as a new creator to retain people that I just see people not doing. And it's a lot of it is people are awkward and shy, or they don't know how to do it or whatever, and that's fine, but get better at it. If you can't get better at it, you're not going to get good at this. I don't know.
You're right. Like the people who are cracking heads, top of their game, they can get away with the just answer, like you said, just the simple questions and move on, because they're relying on their skill set of being the best at the game. But if you're not, you've got to have that connection, and you do it so well. I have to say, it's I'm so glad.
Thank you.
Brave pointed me over in your direction.
I'm glad he did too.
Like, I don't watch any Fortnite people, and every morning I'm coming on, I'm firing up yours because it's a good morning. That's the way I'm starting my mornings off.
Yeah,
it's great.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's intentional, right? Like I made a commitment a long time ago, and people who are starting out on this should also make the same commitment. If you are being a pissed off little bitch, right? If you're just being whiny on stream, that's not good content. Stop it. Like people are so committed when they start streaming to, I gotta stream for 8 hours. I gotta grind. I gotta stream for 12 hours. I have to just wait. I have to grind out so many streams. I streamed for 300 hours last month. I streamed every day for the last 365 days. Good, great, congratulations. Is it interesting? Like, was what you're doing worth watching? Was the content that you're putting out valuable, or were you just grinding for 12 hours, nodding your head at a comment in chat, not doing anything else, not forming any relationships, not doing anything interesting or funny, right? Like, there is so much more value to a 3-hour stream that is consistently energetic and entertaining the entire way through than there is an 8-hour stream where you are half-assing your shit. And I think that one of the things that I learned early on is that if I am in a bad mood, I give myself like a half hour, right? Like I will give myself a half hour to get that shit back in line. But the longer you stay in a bad mood, or you stay sad, or you stay, not funny, right? The longer you stay in these buckets on stream, the more people you are driving away from your community who like you when you're on your A game, right? And I'm not saying that you have to always be on your A game, otherwise your stream was shitty, right? But you have to always be trying to get there. And you have to always be, if you're on your B or C game, it has to be good, right? You have to be upbeat and happy, because nobody wants to watch someone being sad or mad.
No,
like rage.
And you have such a small window when a new person comes in to your community. You have a window, and if you don't get them, they're clicking on one of the other 30 people that see on the left-hand side.
Yep. Yeah, it's tough. You do have that. I talk about that with my friends a lot. I have a buddy who actually works at Twitch, and he was like, bro, if you ever get a big raid, just throw on like a 3-minute ad. And I was like, no, like I'm not gonna do. And like, okay. And his argument is, you're not going to get everybody from the raid to stick around anyway. You're not going to just monetize that, right? If you say you get and he's talking about like a big raid, like a ninja raid, right? Not like a raid of 100, which is a massive raid. But it's not like a money making raid if you run an advertisement, right? But you get, all of a sudden you have 3,000 people in your stream, like you can make $200 in 90 seconds, right? Like you can make decent money. And he's like, do that. And I was like, no, like for me, yeah, that's great. That $200 is amazing, right? Like obviously, but if you're trying to grow and be good at this, you have such, like you said, such a short window to retain somebody, to capture somebody's attention, that if the first 3 minutes in your stream is an advertisement, that's going to be the only 3 minutes they ever spend in your stream, right? And so my thing is like, I have to try to capture your attention quickly. And I want to, right? Like I want more cool people in my chat. Like there are people 100% who've told me that if anybody else was streaming, they'd still be in my chat because of the people that are in my chat, right? Like they're not there for me, which is great. Like it's great to hear and also sad, but it's true and it's accurate. Like we have created this community that works independent of the streamer. When I'm gone at work, I'll leave for a half hour at a time to go to meetings, or if I'm doing like a 12-hour stream, I'll take an hour away. I'll just leave because like we've talked about, like I want to have good energy. And if I'm going to do a 12-hour stream, I'm not going to be able to have good energy the entire 12 hours unless I reset for a little bit, get some food, rest my eyes. I've showered in the middle of stream before, right? Like just to kind of get like that refreshed feeling and hop back on and then knock out the next 3 or 4 hours. But my community stays, like my chat stays, so cool. And they just talk to each other even if I'm not there. And that's what people need to focus on when they're just starting out, when you have such a short window, like you said, short window.
Yeah. And that speaks volume to you and your community, that you could go away for a half hour, do a meeting, come back, and they're chatting, and you come in, it's like, oh, okay, Corey's back. Hey. And
they're like, oh yeah, by the way. Yeah, and then they're pissed because they have to turn the music down so they can hear me. Like, it's unique, I think. But it's always been what I've wanted to build in a community, you know?
All right, so a couple more things and you can get rolling there.
Sure.
First of all, if you're picking an all-star squad to play Fortnite with, who is your all-star? I'm talking OGs. You just make that name and they're there and you're rolling.
Like we're talking like
3 other people,
like Mount Rushmore of Fortnite, like not my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The Mount Rushmore of Fortnite that you get to play with. They don't need to be cracking heads, but just funny people that you want to play with.
That is tough. God. Okay, so if it's straight up just like funny people that I want to play with, I'm thinking Tim the Tatman has to be there. Nick Merckx has to be there 100%, and probably Dr. Lupo. I think those 3 people, if we're talking Mount Rushmore are the 3 people that I would have the most fun playing with. You can swap. There's so many good content creators too. Like you could swap out any of them. If you're talking about people who would be like motivating and that I would love to play with because I want to like, I don't know, be like them, like be content creators like them, and who understand like the business and the growth side of this, and who are also incredibly fun as well, and just make really, really fun and creative content. I think if you do SypherPK, and Nick A30. And then probably Courage JD, like those three. If you want to make the best content if you want to make the best YouTube video you've ever made, like the most fun you've ever had playing the actual video game itself, not just like conversations and stuff, which they would provide great conversations for as well. But like those three would be incredible to just stream with, right? I mean, there is so much to learn there as a content creator from those three. But yeah, those, I don't know. There's a lot. I can make like 12 Mount Rushmores. So.
All right, so finally you survived the podcast. You're ready to go. We're
Sweet.
wrapping up. Who are you calling out that you said that should come on here? Yes.
Gosh.
Now, I don't know many in your community, but I'm looking for you to call out somebody who's going to be interesting, and just you threw out some like you said Maddie is a crazy down and dirty. You just like there's so many. Sounds like there's just so many cool people.
There are.
You gotta call out one here that that just needs to come on and share their story. I
think somebody that would be legitimately really, really interesting to have a conversation with would be Tubby Tub. I don't know if you've met Tubby. Right. Nope. One of my favorite people on the platform. He is currently hitting numbers that like is getting him close to partner, right? Yeah. He is. I'm a really big ally, right? And in my community, there's a lot of like LGBTQ people in my community. There's a lot of diversity and amazing different people in my community. He is one of the few LGBTQ streamers in Fortnite who have like a platform that's developing, right? And he's funny as hell, like one of the funniest people I've ever met. He's open and honest about like that aspect of his life, but it doesn't define who he is, even though he does have a couple of videos where like all of his friends are like, wait, Tubby, you're gay? And he does randomly say like, I'm gay a lot, but like that still is not, it's a part of his personality he's really, really proud of, or not as part of his life, not his personality. It's part of his whole life that he's really, really proud of. And that aspect of his personality about being like open and trying to make it so it's more mainstream for people. Because gaming is one of those industries that is, in my opinion, really, really far behind when it comes to representation like that. And to have people who one are incredibly vocal about how representation matters and about how there's a lack of representation, to have somebody who's an ambassador for the platform of Twitch and the ambassador for Fortnite and an ambassador for like human rights is somebody who's super, 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 super great to have on the podcast. Like that, I would reach out to Tubby in a heartbeat if I was you. Okay, done. Awesome. You're coming on. Let's go. All right, man. Well, hey, thank you so much. I can't say how much I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on and chatting. Yeah, it was a blast. I would do it again. I mean, if you have another 5 hours or whatever for me to keep talking. Anytime, man. Sure, we only got through like half the questions. So. Yeah.